Hey, Tiger fans, Ben Rosenbaum here from the Towson Sports Network here for another edition of the Tiger Basketball Report, and it should be a pretty happy one. I'm joined by head coach Diane Richardson, and coach, pretty successful last couple days for you guys. A sweep of the College of Charleston and then a big win yesterday over James Madison. Just your thought on how your team handled the three-game stretch, because it's been rare since we haven't had one of those in a little while.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we managed to squeeze a game in between two last weekend and two this weekend. So I was really pleased. Of course, we've played well and continuing to play even better. So I was definitely pleased last night and this past weekend with their effort and, of course, the outcomes.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Kiana Jeter, Mello, she sure knows how to play basketball. Couple of 30-point games, including 31 against JMU and then 37 on the Sunday game. And she's just getting better and better in front of our eyes. And you start to think that, okay, eventually a team's going to, figure her out, but she just comes up with new ways every single game.
Yeah, she does. And I mean, there's nothing that's normal about her and about her game. And like you said, you may send somebody at her, but she'll come down and shoot from another spot or a deeper spot. So, I mean, she's very in tune with basketball and in tune with the game of basketball.
Obviously, she has still a little ways to go this season, but just kind of going over the last 3 years for her, how have you seen her grow both on and off the court? Because, she's now getting the national recognition, multiple watch lists for multiple different awards. She's got to be, if not she's one of the top two front runners for Player of the Year. So how have you seen her grow the last few years?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing is her maturity. When she first came in, she didn't have that maturity or focus to know that, okay, let me focus on this game while I'm on this court. And, we've seen that just elevate every single year. And this year in particular, she's leading more and understanding how this whole team works together and the chemistry of it all. And so I've got to applaud that for Mello. And I think that just also elevates her game.
Someone else who had a nice couple of games, obviously Alia Nelson continues to do Alia Nelson-like things, but we saw Caitlyn Wright really break out, especially in the Charleston series and then yesterday against James Madison. Is this what you've been waiting for from her, to just kind of take control of that post spot down low? And, she got the one double-double in the opener against Charleston, and she's kept it moving. She's been pretty solid back there.
Yeah, she has. And she's using her tools, her quickness, her quick feet, her strength, and putting it all together now. And it's pleasing to see that. And she's added a little toughness with it, too. So it was good to see her in the last 3 games, do some things. And I think she's probably coming out of her shell now.
Going back with Alia Nelson, the passing is obviously, not something we've seen. We saw it from Q Murray at the last couple of years, but Alia does it in such, shocking ways sometimes, splitting defenders or threading a needle. She was a little shaky in the Charleston series in one of the games. She got off to a slow start. What's important for her when she gets into those kind of games where she's having trouble completing some of these passes, whether it's on her or somebody else, or what do you want her to know there? What do you say to her in those moments?
Well, just to relax. She has a great feel for the game. She can see the play after the next play. So that's what makes her so dangerous, is she can see past this first line of defense, and she just needs to relax, because she doesn't do it naturally. Like you said, just threading the needle sometimes with her passes. So she just needs to relax and, let the game come to her.
Somebody else who I've been noticing more and more of, and I thought really these past 3 games were maybe her best stretch so far, Nari Dodson getting a little bit more burn for you. And defensively, she reminds me of a Nakaya Mayo. She's so long. She's able to bother anybody's shot. She doesn't always have to jump to bother the shot. She had a handful of blocks, I think, during the Charleston series. What's the ceiling for her? What's your expectations for her?
Well, I think, she's just, scratching the surface, actually. We have a different style of basketball than what she's playing, more structured, but up tempo. And so she's finally getting relaxed in it and understanding what our expectations are. And you ask what the expectations are. It's to use her strength and her athleticism to be all over the court, which she is starting to do.
Looking at that James Madison game, that game, while ended very nicely, didn't open up as you might have wanted.
Right.
When you have a game, high emotions, JMU's a rival. You had the tough loss to them to start the CAA. What do you attribute that slow start to? Was it maybe just too much emotion? They were really ready to go, and it kind of was too much at the beginning. They just needed to take a second. What did you see in the start of that game?
Well, it could have been the emotions, Ben, but I tell you, they were pretty fired up in the locker room before the game. And then we get out there and we see a whole new team. And it was surprising to us as a staff. And we had to remind them that we cannot sit back, that, with a good team like JMU, we can't sit back and give up an 11-point lead. We've got to go out there and let our emotions turn into our energy. And that's what happened.
And then as the game went on, JMU clawed back into it a couple times, I think at one point closing it to 6. What did you remind your team in that moment? Because, we all saw what happened on January 1st. They were able to catch you guys and take it away. What were you saying to them that, here they come, like they're not going to go away quietly?
Yeah. They came back, and obviously Kiki Jefferson tried to take over the game, and, we got in foul trouble, but we had to remember the first game where we were up 15 and gave it away at the end of the game. And just to be poised, they threw on the press. I don't think the press really bothered us. It may have turned us over a couple times. I don't think it really bothered us. We just needed to stay poised and get through the game.
So you get the win, and now you shift your focus to Northeastern coming up this weekend. Team that is struggling a little bit. They're 3-10, 2-8 in the conference. They have back-to-back sweeps on the bad end of back-to-back sweeps against Drexel and Delaware. You look at the Huskies, and it feels like they've been in rebuilding mode now for the last couple of years, ever since Jess Jenko graduated. What do you see from the Huskies, and what do you expect to see when you head up to Boston?
Well, the first thing, Ben, is I'm not looking at their record because, that's a well-coached team, and it's a system team, and they run their things, and they're very disciplined with it. They're scrappy, and they play hard for 40 minutes. So, I really can't look at what their win-loss record is, because that's not indicative of the way they play. So we've got to be prepared for them, just like we prepare for every other team in the CAA.
Yeah, I was going to say, you look at their schedule, and I have it all over here on the monitor to my left. Some of these last couple of games for them, they're close. They're close games. So they're a team that, these last 4 games, couple different bounces go their way here and there, it's a different outcome. Does that make a team even more dangerous when they feel like they've been right there, and now they have another good team coming in and it's their house, and they feel like they're just one bounce away from one?
Yeah, and when teams get to that point where they need a win really badly, they're going to do whatever it takes, and I imagine they will be fighting and scrapping, and we've got to be prepared for that.
You mentioned, that they're scrappers and they're a tough team. I'm Stella Clark, someone who we saw go at it with Q Murray the last couple years. Just a really good point guard battle there between those two. She's somebody who likes to get physical. She likes to really just get into the ball handler. We talked about Alia Nelson. How do you coach her up to keep your cool and just know that it's going to be a physical game from Clark? Well,
one of the things about Alia is she's pretty calm. And doesn't get rattled easy. So, and she's one of the quickest guards in the conference. So I don't think that Alia will let her get to her. And obviously we know how she plays, and she's pesky. So we're just got to be prepared for that. I'd like to say that Alia Nelson is pesky too. So we'll have 2 gnats going at each other.
All right, Coach, it should be a good battle up in Boston. Thanks for taking some time for us today, and good luck up there.
Thank you so much, Ben.
For more news on your Towson Women's Basketball Tigers, make sure you keep it to TowsonTigers.com. For head coach Diane Richardson, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.